Blacks run the Democratic Party. Blacks dominate the Democratic Party. It was the black vote that got Joe Biden over the top to win the Democratic nomination. So people want to feel good. People want to feel powerful. And due to the homogeneity of the black vote, blacks are the single most powerful element of the Democratic Party. Why would they leave that?
People on the American right are not so much interested in making America great again in terms of making America what it once was. At this point, I think perhaps their desires are much more humble and realistic. It seems to me that they probably just want things to be more functional, the economy to be better, inflation to be under control, obviously violent crime to be dealt with.
The primary right wing incentive or impulse is order and minimizing contagion. And it's been that way for thousands of years, and it is still operating. So that manifests itself differently in different circumstances. So right now it's a concern about crime. It's a concern about immigration. It's a concern about the trashing of white Christian America. I think pushing back against like the transsexual and degenerate sexual agendas, because people just want to feel safe and clean, and they just see spiraling disorder and spiraling contagion. So monkeypox, all right, AIDS, spiraling numbers of sexually transmitted diseases, and then a media fixation on the most important thing about the monkeypox story is that we don't stigmatize people who participate in gay orgies. Like a regular American is sickened by that, where they hear doctors talking about doing transsexual operations as a great moneymaker for this university hospital because it requires a lot of follow-up care. Like when people hear about this stuff, they're just sickened. People want safety, and they want order, and they want to reduce contagion.
Now, this transsexual thing, which you had mentioned before, and you just mentioned again, the whole trans rights thing, this has been quite recent. It came about immediately after Hodges, which legalized gay marriage, needless to mention, and it is something which is now for the left, next to blackness, all consuming. Why do you suppose this trans rights thing came so quickly? And why do you think it's found such an audience? Like over the last 5 years, basically, the amount of people who suddenly discovered they're trans has spiked drastically. I mean, obviously there had to be some problem there beforehand that something like this was just able to swoop in and make such a remarkably awful difference.
Yeah, I mean, remember past satanic panics in the United
Uh,
States, or past, witchcraft or witch panics, or remember the recovered memory delusions where all these, upstanding citizens and schools and churches were accused of carrying out, satanic ritual child abuse, and it was based on recovered memories that turned out to be
mhm.
nonsense. So life is hard. A lot of people are unhappy, and if they can find an explanation for their unhappiness and offered a solution to their unhappiness, it's like, oh, you're really a girl inside. I mean, that's incredibly tempting. Or if someone can help you recover a memory about how your father used to molest you, or the priest would molest you, like recovered memories and satanic, panics and transgender panics, people want an easy way out. And whether it's like some Scientology offering to audit you for thetans, or if you just believe in Jesus, you'll be saved forever and you'll be very happy, or if you just observe the Torah, then your problems will be solved. Like a third of the population, I would say, is pretty unhappy, and a substantial portion of that third is going to be highly amenable to offered solutions, particularly if they are regarded as cool. Also, there's an inherent tendency on the left to want to continually badger people, educate people, bully people against being ignorant and bigoted and sticking to traditional folk ways. So this is the latest manifestation, and there will never be an end to that. There will never be an end to the left-wing compulsion to try to improve people away from ignorance and tradition and folk ways.
It's something. It really is something. What's interesting is that children are being trusted to make these decisions effectively about the rest of their life. It used to be, I don't know if it still is, that you couldn't even get a vasectomy basically unless you were 21 years of age or older. But now you have these people beginning to take gender transitioning quote unquote therapies before they're even 10 years old. Uh, Having giving this sort of latitude to children, I think, is inherently destructive, and it shouldn't be a left or right issue to see that it is something which should not be had. What's your take on this, Lou?
Yeah, I think there's also something quintessentially American, quintessentially liberal in it, in that you get to choose your own identity.